welcome to Amongst Friends. I am part of my co-host right here. My name is Sidney Jordan, and this is my co-host.
Lorren Buck.
Lorren Buck.
Or Lorren Zakia, that's fine.
Okay. We started this thing called Amongst Friends. It's basically an audio and video podcast that we want to put out here to help promote food for thought, open the floodgates for conversation, to improve communication and mental stimulation, self-empowerment, and to promote social consciousness.
Yeah. So, and we, this title, Amongst Friends, it's like when you're amongst friends, you can be yourself. And so part of our podcast will be giving it will give us an opportunity to kind of reflect on our friendships and the things that we have encountered on this journey of friendship. Mm-hmm. And we'll align those with some of the topics that we'll discuss.
And we definitely like you to subscribe to our page. Click on that to... No, it's Amongst Friends 113.
Yes, Amongst Friends 113.
At gmail.com.
Yes. We're on Twitter, too.
Yes, we're tweeting. We're tweeting right now.
So, this Twitter handle is _amongst friends. So, there's a amongst friends and there's a underscore after the A.
Eventually, we'll put those links in the YouTube page, so you'll be able to just click on that and just go back and forth through all the social networks and just feel free to leave a comment or some feedback.
Yep. So, you want to talk a little bit about who you are? Introduce yourself to the people.
Well, ladies first. I'm something like a gentleman.
A little bit about me. I'm a Leo, which means I'm a lioness. I'm very passionate. I'm a spiritual teacher. That's one of my titles or identities. I was talking to somebody and they were a preacher who considers herself a spiritual entrepreneur. And I was like, oh, I like that. So I'm also a spiritual entrepreneur.
Yes. She's very passionate about the things that she says. And you'll notice throughout our friendship, there's this thing called trigger words. Certain trigger words can get certain reactions out of people, and everybody's familiar with that. Like, women know how to say certain things to push men's buttons, and men know how to do certain things to get a reaction out of a woman. So, yeah.
You don't have many buttons. It's a lot. It takes a lot for your buttons to be pushed.
It does and it doesn't. I have my quirks just like everybody else. But a little bit about myself. Like I said before, my name's Sidney Jordan. I work for public safety, the fire department, not the police. I've been doing it for over 14 years. And I mentor, I'm an artist, I paint, draw, do music, all of that stuff. Some people say you can be a jack of all trades, master of none, but I have pretty good at just about all of that stuff. So,
we're jumping into our topic.
Did I just toot my own horn just now? Did I just brag on myself?
You should toot your own horn as far as, other than what Lady Eloise says, is that you shouldn't have to toot your own horn. Yeah. You should leave that for someone else to do. So you toot my horn, I'll toot your horn. Toot it.
Affirmations are good for everybody, Attaboys and attagirls is okay. Sometimes you got to big yourself up because people won't do it for you.
Okay, so toot me, and then I'll toot you. Toot me.
That was like toot you, and then you'll toot me.
Yes, so toot me.
You know what? This is a family-friendly network.
Toot me.
I'm not tooting nothing. Look, I'll tell you did a good job, but I'm not tooting anything.
Oh, gosh.
So, we wanted to talk about today's topic. We wanted to talk about accountability.
No, we're going to do what?
Okay, so she's had a few drinks here.
No, I have not. I've had a few sips, sir.
Okay. So,
what is our topic today?
today's topic, we're going to talk about accountability, morals, as well as emotional intelligence and emotional integrity. So, I know it may seem like a lot, but there's always somebody going through something, whether it be more than what you're going through or similar to what you're going through. And, you know, some people need an outlet. So maybe by us talking about this, a person that may be going through these things won't feel like that they're alone, and that they'll have an outlet to, either comment on it or feel like, just get some different insight on different perspectives.
So you came up with this topic. What was the conversation? You had a conversation with somebody.
About accountability?
Yes.
Which one about the accountability?
The integrity and morals. You said, I was having a conversation with somebody and I think this would be a good topic. Oh. Integrity and morals. You said, I was having a conversation with somebody and I think this would be a good topic.
Oh, well, when I was talking about accountability, to me, accountability, is just about saying that, I did it. This is me. Personally, I'm a person that, I don't have a problem saying I'm wrong. I want to know, I want to be understood. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it don't go like that. I would prefer to be understood out. I may know how my habits are. I don't necessarily know your habits. So, if you and I are roommates and something comes up missing or something broken, naturally the first person I'm going to go to is you, because I know, like I said, I know my faults, I know what I do. So I got to figure out what's going on with you. And if you throw me, it's like say some dishes are broken or whatever, and I know it's 4 of them and I was just 2, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to be like, yo, what's going on with these dishes? We had 4, now we got 2. Accountability, to me, is you would say, hey, yo, I broke. I haven't had any dishes that just grow legs and walk away. So to me, accountability, and this is just an example, accountability would be like, I broke them. Instead of giving a open-ended answer or an excuse.
Accountability is accepting your part in the equation.
Exactly.
Whatever that.
I was a person who didn't take accountability for the things I did. I think it was a transition from going from a young man to a real man, to a grown man. And I think, one of the things I did, I would be called a hypocrite. It's like, oh, you do this, and but you don't follow what you say. And then I'm like, me the type of person I am, I'm a psychoanalyzer. So I'm like, well, if I said her, I know I'm quite sure I mentioned it before, my role, but if the other person only wants to hear what it is to satisfy what it is that they're needing or whatever, they still may even miss the point. Because I'm gonna be logical about the situation. I'm gonna go from A to Z, and I'm gonna think of 1, 2, 3 of all the things that happen and all the different variables that may have contributed to it. But if you still just want to hear, look, just say you did it, and without having an explanation behind it, I don't know. That was probably one of my downfalls with that, because I was just like, okay, but you want me to admit to something when I see it different and we're not seeing eye to eye. So when I say I talk about the accountability of it, and sometimes people just want to hear maybe the comforting, I guess. So it's like when I said with the plates or whatever, as an example, I'm just saying, look, I broke them, or I hurt you, or I said something that wasn't nice. I take accountability for that. But usually that shit goes into, well, what did you do? Or what you gonna do for me? Do you understand where I'm coming from with that? You may not get that.
Well, I think accountability, there is one step is the acknowledgement of your part.
Exactly.
But then I think also there is another piece, and that is repairing the harm that was done, or declaring like this is my commitment moving forward because this is something that I did. I'm owning that. It's not enough just to say I did it and then continue to do it. You also have to articulate this is my commitment moving forward.
I agree with that. I think that makes things work. But what do you do when you're faced with a situation where you take accountability for what you've done and you admit to it, and the other person just can't get past it and they let it go? Because I was in a situation with that before, where no matter what was said or whatever, the wound was still open and it was still damage there. And what I learned from that is, everybody goes through things at different times, and everybody may not get things at the same time that the other person got it. So there's really no way to gauge the timing of the healing of the wound. Like I can sit here and say all day, I hurt you. I see what I did. I learned from it, and let's try. I apologize for it, and I want to try to make things better. But even with all of that said, that still may come up. Those feelings may still come up to that person, and it's like basically like trauma, and you find yourself in a situation where they bring it up over and over again. And then you end up, not only are they reliving it, but you reliving it.
Right.
And it's like, I think that goes back to the old statement of damned if you do, damned if you don't, where I'm going to just say where it was thrown on a lot of men, where guys would cheat on the simple fact that, well, I know I did something wrong. I know I may have hurt you. I'm trying to do right. But every time I'm on the path to thinking I'm doing the right thing, you bring it back up. And now I got to go through it again. So now you're in the situation like, damn, I was doing all of this to try to fix the situation and make you feel better and change. Yeah, I keep reliving it whenever you think that a person is cheating or doing such and then now it's like, well, hell, I'm on. And it's very immature to think that, but I'm quite sure that some guys have thought that, well, shit, she gonna think I'm cheating anyway. I might as well,
Well, but I think it's depending on the severity of the offense.
Well, cheating is cheating.
Yeah, but we're not. Cheating could be a severe offense for some people. That might be different than you like yelling and going below the belt and like saying something that was really hurtful. So both of them still are hurtful, and depending on like what a person needs in their relationship to feel secure, loved, and accepted, that may be difficult. Some things may be more difficult to overcome than others. And I think like when you mentioned trauma, like that example of something traumatic happening and mirroring something that someone may experience like trauma is like knowing your triggers and knowing that being in touch with yourself to the point that you are conscious of, okay, my emotions are high, I'm feeling this way. Is this a true reflection of this person's behavior, or is this like my trauma being triggered?
I'm glad you said that.
And then being able to like dial it back if necessary. And then if I'm aware, like it's not my partner or the person that I'm with, it's really like what they did is like triggering something in me, and so I can just be, and it's difficult, but still saying,
I'm glad you said that.
Okay, this is an emotion, not a reality, and working through that.
But you know what? I'm glad you said that, because one, that's where the accountability comes in. The wounded person can't get past the hurt to self-check themselves to do that.
Yeah.
Some people, it's like you can do 1,000 good things, and that one bad thing ruin it. Everything else. So they now you mark with that. So when I say that, like, a person may have to take accountability themselves and then have to recognize, okay, like you said, it's not the person, it's the circumstance or the issue. And some people, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, even I've struggled with it before. It may be hard for a person to catch that when the emotion,
right?
Because when you're in the emotion feels right,
right?
And whatever comes out or whatever happens, you may be justified, and then as the tension and everything settles, then you may reflect on it and be like, oh man, I shouldn't have did that, or maybe they didn't. But you got to want to take accountability of your actions, like, and I'm saying that to say, like, and going back to the scenario, I said that if I've wronged you and I'm trying to show that I'm trying to do right, if you're not going to look at the effort that I'm putting forward to try to correct the situation and then work with me to where we can both grow and move past this, then we just going to keep revisiting it over and over again.
Right. And I think that is where communication comes into play, because as the person harmed, they need to know, like, what was it about that offense that really created some instability in me emotionally, and being able to articulate it. Like, so if it's an example of whatever the example is, the harm that's done, me being able to say, not just that you harmed me, but it made me feel, if it was like insecure, or I felt insecure, or I felt like you didn't care for me. And then for me, I might have to articulate it, but I may not necessarily, but knowing, like, what is this stemming from? Like, what past experience?
Are you talking about the person being offended, or are you talking about the person that did the damage?
The one offended. So maybe your
offense, a lot to think about,
right? But maybe your offense is tied to maybe a past experience,
right.
And I need to know, like, in the past, if something like this happened, what were the circumstances, and are these the same circumstances? Because they may not be. They may be the same circumstances. You might be acting like someone that I experienced in the past, but I need to know, like, what is the tension that I'm living in at this moment, and and articulating that piece, I think, is important.
I think I agree with all of those things that you said. Those are methods. Those are methods that a person can use to gather and check themselves and collect themselves to get past a situation like that. But you have to take accountability of what you contribute in any type of relationship or situation or circumstances to know how to get past it, because it's three things to any relationship, for any relationship to be successful. And I say this all the time. It's a triangle. You need to have respect, you need to have communication, and then you have to have trust. If you break any one of those things, you're going to have a problem in any type of relationship. Love don't got nothing to do with any type of relationship. If I don't respect you, I'm not going to trust you. If I can't communicate with you, I can't respect you.
Yeah, and if I don't trust you, I'm not going to communicate with you, because I don't want to say nothing to you. Get on my nerves. So
whenever any one of those three things are affected in that triangle of a relationship or whatever, you have to repair that triangle first, and then try to move forward. Yeah,
and then I want to go back to your, like, when taking accountability, because I think you had said, like, it starts off by saying, I apologize if I have offended you. Like, not being clear of the offense is also the issue. So I think it's also not enough to say, I apologize if I offended you.
What you apologize.
Know what the offense was. And not just because I lied to you. I apologize that I lied to you. I apologize that I lied to you, and that as a result of my lying, you felt this way.
The worst fucking apology somebody can give you is when they say, I'm sorry you upset.
Yeah.
What the fuck you mean you sorry I'm upset? Do you know while I'm upset?
Yeah.
Okay, don't just be sorry, because then I'll be wanting to go back to the Ike movie, and be like, don't be sorry, don't be careful. I'm just saying, don't be sorry, be careful. A person will feel, personally, I would feel a lot better accepting whatever it is that you have to say if you can acknowledge what it is that you've done to me. You know,
Which
if you stole from me, don't say, man, I'm sorry you feel like you can't trust me. No, I'm sorry I shouldn't have stole from you.
Yes. And now that stealing made you not trust me.
Now you know what I'm upset.
Yeah.
So it's like repeat it back to me.
Yeah.
You know, oh, my bad. No, look, my bad works when you 10, 11, 12. When you an adult.
Yeah, no, that don't work.
You can't my bad nobody.
And a part of being able to do that well is around emotional intelligence. And I think that I think one, generally,
where you going with this?
I think that, oftentimes women are more emotionally mature and more emotionally intelligent than some men because of the ways that men are socialized to distance themselves from their feelings and their emotion. And I'm not saying all, but I'm saying there is a thing around how men stand in their manhood or what is perceived as masculine, and it's feelings and emotions be damned. So I'm not even clear about my own feelings, let alone being able to attend to my partner's feelings and emotions.
I can agree with you on that. I think a big part of that plays in a role of the outlet that you have, the outlet that women have. Women have a different type of support system. One of y'all deal with emotions all the time, and I might get some slack behind this, but it's cool.
We all have emotions.
But I'm gonna tell you.
We all have emotions.
I'm gonna tell you from what I've experienced and what makes it easier, what I feel makes it easier for women versus men is when women, you all go through something, you all just get that bond, that you can feel that energy because you may have went through this before in a relationship with a guy, or you can feel that energy. So you all support. Let it out, girl. He ain't shit. You deserve better. You're beautiful. So you get all the support and these affirmations and everything to help you get through it. And then when you come to your senses, you may be like, thanks. You may on your own time collect yourself and be like, okay, your girl's built you up, and now you can go deal with the situation and address it without having to have all of that stuff contained. Men, our situation is different, and it's bad. There's a lot of double standards, but it's harder for men to go to your buddy, and it could be any one of your partners and say, hey man, me and my girl going through it, and you bawl and you want to let it out. You can't do that. I mean, and if you do, the backlash, that's just men. How men we are. We brutal, so you tend to just bottle it up and you hold it in, because you don't want to get ridiculed or whatnot. So you don't really have that outlet. You can't really talk to the woman or your girl, because if that's who the issue is with, she may not be able to see where you're coming from at that time. But you try to go to your buddies and get the outlet. We don't necessarily get that. Ours is kind of like negative reinforcement. It's kind of like, and pardon my language, it's pretty much just, fuck that bitch, man. You don't need her. We can go over here and get on some hoes. Let's go get a drink. And then you find yourself in a situation that you may not really want to be in just because you hurt. You maybe just wanted to vent. It's not the direction that you want to go, but you kind of pushing it. And that's a lot of times because we tend to bottle our emotions up because you don't want to show weakness. But honestly, I think being able to cry is a sign of strength to me. Not crying all the time, but just being able to let it out.
Release, yeah. You got to release it.
And if you don't, you hold it in, and then that manifests inside of you.
Right. And
then you also can be desensitized.
Right.
Because now, rather than letting it out and dealing with that emotionally correctly, now you've bottled it up and stored it. And when you may need to let that out and show that emotion with your woman or your significant other, you can't even do it.
Or if you do, you are misdirecting anger because you have bottled it up, and all of a sudden something that could be minor, you just explode and causes whatever type of, if it's physical or verbal, emotional damage.
But see, you know something? When we talk about emotional intelligence, I think everybody likes to feel comfortable and like to feel loved, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you like your place of comfort, there's nothing wrong with that. If you let that be known, Like, there's nothing wrong with if you got a certain group of friends and you flow like this and that works for you, that's cool. But when you come in contact with something that's unfamiliar to what your comfort zone, you're going to be one or two people. You're going to be a person that accepts it and tries to adjust and learn about it, or you're going to be the other person where they're going to find something wrong with the uncomfortability, like, oh, I don't rock with that, and then go back to your comfort zone. Either acknowledge, like, yo, this is where I'm at. I like my comfort zone. I'm going to stay in that area and deal with that. Don't put blame on something because you're uncomfortable with going there, because, like...
You talk about communications?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
I'm going to get to that. I'm starting to feel that drink.
You just had one.
But, what was I going to say on that?
The discomfort and not... I'm trying to follow you. Are you leaning into discomfort and another person, like, judging you for not leaning into discomfort? What do you say?
Not so much judging you. When I say about the comfort zone, I lost my damn train of thought. Oh man, I was really getting to a good point too. We'll come back to it. I was getting to a good one. That's why I probably shouldn't drink on the job. You
barely had anything. I drank more than you, unless that's your second cup.
Whatever. But
we're talking about you got it.
Yeah. Okay. When I was talking about emotional accountability. When I was saying about the comfort zone, people have to acknowledge that anger is an emotion too that needs to be respected and dealt with. Mm-hmm. And when in your comfort zone, mm-hmm. you the people that you follow in your comfort zone, in your circle, whatever, you all may have a strong long-term relationship where you all can deal with each other on a certain level, like calling them a bitch or whatever. Y'all have an understanding where it doesn't affect them, so it's cool. But you deal with somebody that you don't know, and they call you that. Now you have a reaction of never an offense to that. Yeah. That's outside of your comfort zone and also the unknown to me. Okay. So when you deal with a person who may, just say in the beginning of a relationship, everything's sweet, everything's good, it's comfortable, it's good, everything's mm-hmm. cool. Then you come to these crosswords where you have a disagreement or a misunderstanding or whatever. Now it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Either you're going to be a type of person where you're going to flee. I'm out of that because I don't like to be dealt with like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back over here where it's comfortable and never challenge that. Remember, I said you have to be a type of person that's going, okay, let me see how to figure this out. Mm-hmm. Let's either come to some type of understanding where you're going to address how you like to be talked to mm-hmm. or communicated to, mm-hmm. or you're going to try to figure out, okay, the circumstances of what led up to whatever that caused that emotion, because you can't just be a person that only wants happy feelings to happen or happy emotions. People are people. A person may have something to be legitimately justified to be angry about. You're an adult. I may not like that. Now, I have to try to find a way to communicate that and express that without crossing the line of disrespect. But I'm entitled to that emotion. Yes. Like, you should be, if I wronged you and to a certain, you may be offended. You should be allowed to say or react as an adult mm-hmm. with a sense of anger. Mm-hmm. Can't deny a person with that. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying, like I said, it should have a line. It shouldn't go into physical or anything like that, or mm-hmm. violence or nothing mm-hmm. like that. But if you're upset, me as an adult, if I wronged you and I know this is something that you really don't get upset about all the time, and then your octaves raise a little bit, you're entitled to that. Yeah. And you have some people that'll be like, lower your voice. Don't talk to me like that. Wait a minute. Now you sidetracking everything. Like, I got the right to be upset right here. Yeah. Don't make this about my tone. You should understand that. Right. I got the right to be upset about it. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I got
an example, if I can give it.
Sure, go ahead.
It relates to us. Okay, go ahead. And it's also one thing that I appreciate about you, because I and I'm going to speak in and I know that many people who have this experience, that, when you're upset, not to necessarily show it for the sake of peace or, so that disagreements don't happen. It's this false sense of, if I don't say anything, then the issue will go away. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like some of the conditionings that I've had as growing up. Yeah. So somebody's upset, you know what I mean? Or if I'm upset, then, we could go to I'm about to go to parents which is a whole other conversation around corporal punishment and people beating their kids. But a lot of stop crying before I give you something to cry for is those things to suppress one's anger, frustration, and dissent that we're taught to just mask it. Right. Black people have been taught to mask their emotions for the sake of their safety generationally. So all of that is a part of it. But so it was difficult for me to be able to express when I'm upset for fear of someone's disapproval or leaving, abandoning the relationship or whatever. And so I just didn't say anything. And of course, the resentment built up because I couldn't really freely express, how I felt.
Just let it all out at one time and just...
Well, maybe, or I just kind of implode and turn it on to myself something's wrong with me because I can't get over this feeling. So
how did I come?
Okay, so I'm about to. I know when I'm
trying to figure out what you trying to say here.
So
I don't do none of that.
I know. So you'll sense when I'm upset.
Like a motherfucker over here, what she about to say on this camera?
This is what I appreciate about you, because one, you sense when I'm upset or when something's off. And you ask, and I don't always initially. I'm getting better, but I didn't. I just say nothing's wrong, and you might push something's wrong or whatever. Right. Which you doing that helped me in one incident when I felt like you weren't showing up for me, and I was like, you never, I asked you to do something, you never do it, and then I took a breath. And you didn't even respond what the fuck you mean? You were just okay, let me hear what you're saying. And I was like, okay. By you saying that made me be able to pause and sit in this feeling and know that you weren't about to attack me or come on the reverse. Like you said, who you talking to like that? You were just okay, let me hear what you're saying. Then I was okay, I feel then I restated it. That you're not showing up for me, and then I gave examples, and you were okay, I hear what you're saying, but and I think that,
and just to say that, I took accountability.
You did.
One, I had to see where this was coming from, because you have to step back. Nobody likes to hear that they did something wrong. I mean, it's understandable. Nobody likes to feel that they did something wrong to anybody, or hurt anybody or whatnot, or be all the guns are they in the crosshairs. But when you take accountability, at least hear what's being said. Let me sit back and listen to you and hear where is this coming from. Now that doesn't necessarily I may agree with everything you have to say, because I may feel different and have my reasons for that. But let me hear where this is coming from. Yeah, and then try to see what role I may have played. Right. Be analytical. Yeah. Now that's logically thinking. That don't happen all the time. Right. That doesn't happen all the time. Some people meet, they match energies. Oh, you mad? I'm getting mad. Right. And it's sad because it's so easy for some people to match the negative energy. Yeah. Then match the negative energy with some positivity. Yeah. And I just sit back and I look at things. It's like when everybody's in the room happy. And then here comes Screwface. They come in all discombobulated and all just face balled up like a bag of fucking paper or something like that. And they come in. And then everybody look at them. And then you notice the whole energy change. They frown. And they say, what's wrong with you? That energy just transferred. So then it really hurts a person who's in a negative state. And then you come in happy. What you happy for? Why you not happy? So I feel like, if you go through something or whatever, it's good to try to take accountability, collect yourself, and see what's about to happen. Let them say enough. And these are things that I've learned. I'm not saying that I was perfect, because, I know I'm a work in progress to this day. But these are just things that I've learned. Like, see what's about to go down. See what's being said. Take it in. And then, try to see what they're talking about and take accountability for the role that you play. And, sometimes it may not even be nothing that you have to say to a person. Maybe they just want you to just give them a hug or whatever, just something to diffuse the tension and then try to talk about it. But it starts with taking accountability.
Yeah.
And having that triangle, that communication, respect, and that trust to try to work that out. People think that, I like Will Smith. Like, if you ever follow Will Smith timeline, he says a lot of great stuff. Will Smith said something really smart that stuck with me. He was like, people talk about where they try to, they want somebody to make them happy. Mm-hmm. You should never go looking for somebody to make you happy. You should be happy within yourself. Mm-hmm. Then, when you meet somebody else is happy, y'all join happiness. Mm-hmm. I love that when he said that.
Yeah, because then that relinquishes control on the person's part.
Take that burden off of them.
Well, no, if I am looking for you to make me happy, then you actually control my life, which means, like, I'm only happy if you do certain things. Right. And I can't control what you do. Right. Or another person does. And you're giving control of your own life over to somebody else. So how do I maintain autonomy and control within myself? Then I don't allow my happiness to be a condition upon my relationship with another person.
Right.
It helps you to be more self-sufficient. I
think that, just trying to wrap this up.
Are we?
For right now.
Okay.
Right now. I think a big part of things start with taking accountability, because a lot of times we may go through something, we may be hurt and not even know that we hurt, and then you carry that baggage on to the next relationship or encounter that you have with another person. And some people think that if I just leave this person, I go to this next person, I'll be all right. And you never address it. When you take accountability for even just wounds and your hurt or things that have happened to you in your life, you can deal with that. Right. And then that way you can come to the table, you heal yourself, take care of yourself. It's like a scar, you got to heal it before you can just put something over it. Let it heal, and then you get back to being who you are, and that way you can move forward without that baggage.
Yeah, which goes back to, accountability. In order to do that well, one must be emotionally intelligent, have emotional integrity, because you can't build that triangle or repair it if one aspect of it is damaged if you aren't self-aware. Right. And if you're not self-aware, then there's no way that you can be present for somebody else, because you have not learned to be present with yourself.
Oh, you said mouthful then.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this food for thought. And promoting this social consciousness. Our first time, so they'll get better as things go on. But this is pretty much just how we are. There's no script here. We may have a few topics here and there we want to talk about, but we talk about everything. And it's genuine. Like, her response is her response, my response is my response. No coercion here or none of that, I hope you guys can benefit from this and tune in to some more content that we'll have. We'll be putting it up regularly now. And, feel free to comment, subscribe, spread the word, share, like. Should be posting things on Twitter as well. We'll be posting things on Twitter as well to keep you guys in the loop. And feel free to put down any other discussions you'd like us to have. We'll have more of them coming. So I hope you guys tuned in and enjoyed this conversation amongst friends. Lorren, anything you want to say in closing today?
No, that's fine. I think you did a good job.